thank you all for attending today. And our objectives today are to just give you a quick overview of enterprise dashboards and widgets, and to demonstrate uses for the HTML widget, some informative type links and other information. The informative type of widget might be something like this, where we have an example of the Gold King mine spill, which happened in Colorado in 2015. Just some information that you might put into the HTML widget to give information for folks that would be interested in your project. I like this one in particular because it gives a before and after pictures, gives information about this spill that happened in 2015. Within that same HTML widget, we have a link to a video that was released by the EPA and shows this. This is a YouTube video that gives exactly what happened there. Not pretty. Within that, all that there is within the widget editor, or the properties within that widget, we come up and change the name to just give it a Gold King mine spill. Within the HTML section of that, we just added this little bit of code, not much there, just puts that. And in the handouts section on the GoToWebinar section there, you can download, and I have all of this information in there in terms of the ones that I'll be demonstrating this morning. Within another one, we have just an open new window, which actually does a link, just takes up a little less real estate within our dashboard, keeps it pretty small, and this link in this case goes to an Academy database that we have, and actually opens up a new window for a different dashboard. Let's at this point look at some of these examples. Let me quickly go over to what I have up here on our office hours, or our Academy 2017 dashboard. This is a dashboard that I set up for this. And here again, just as a disclaimer for this, remember that you do have to have permissions for editing and creating dashboards and widgets within that. So you do need those permissions. For the sake of this demonstration, I haven't really followed the conventions of a good dashboard. They're supposed to be, according to Wikipedia, they're supposed to be simple and communicate easily, have minimum distractions so you don't cause confusion, and supports organized business, or gives you an organized set of information that you want to display to either the people using this dashboard. And then again, gives visual perception, because we are visual. Most of us are visual. There's few folks that aren't generally just visual, like to learn in different ways. But in the general, a lot of us are really visual. And so we like to see that. This is why I like this Gold King mine widget here. This gives us a before and after, very clear what's happened, links to the video, and gives us information there. But let's go through a couple of these examples that I have within this. And here's one that is just a quick example. It has click me. And here it just says, hey, remember to tell your friends about quackit.com. I did just a quick search, found a link to some code, literally just copied and pasted it into this. I won't do this for all of these examples, but for this one in particular, I do want to go into, click on the little gear icon here that goes into the properties. And again, for this particular one, all I did was copy that code, looked it up on Google, and it just gave me a quick link, put this code right in here, saved it, and you have this click me. Doesn't really do a whole lot, but a quick example right off the bat. For this second example, this one is the one that is can be very helpful if you want to give someone a link. In this case, this opens a new dashboard, and I'll pull that over here. Opens up a new dashboard, and this is actually the EDP dashboard, so that we can upload EDDs, see the status for loaded EDDs. And as a quick link, each, if you'll notice up here on the top, the URL for this, each dashboard has its own unique URL. So all I had to do was put that into that open, the code in the open on this original dashboard. Also within this dashboard, which is a very handy if you want to put some informative information or some SOPs, or in this case, what I've done is just put a link to one of our EarthSoft office hours on how to load EDPs or how to load EDDs within Enterprise EDP. Man, I'm getting my EDDs and EDPs all confused this morning. But within this case, we have another HTML widget, can just be put in there, have the link to the YouTube video that is accessible right here, can watch that if they have any questions. This one in particular doesn't necessarily give you a quick, I think this is a higher level video. It just gives you a way to see and gives you some information. Again, you could put in SOPs, you could put in information that might apply to the people that are uploading this data. So that's a quick link. I'm going to close that one. That's our second example. Within this third one here, which I've already mentioned and alluded to, the HTML for this Gold King mine spill is a little more involved, and I do have that in the handouts. That code for this one is in there. Really, it's just a couple pictures, some text, and then the link to the actual footage that's on YouTube. This fourth example is a little bit large, but I've scaled it down to be a smaller section, kind of crammed it into a smaller space on the screen to keep a little bit of the screen real estate a little tighter. There are a large number of cameras here. This is linking to some traffic cams that are within our local area here in the Blacksburg, Virginia area. Not too many cars. I don't know if you'll be able to see any of the traffic moving. I think some of that is due to the number of cameras here, but it does refresh. I can scroll down, and this is on one of the 460 business. It gives you that information. This could be useful if you need to know the traffic conditions within your area. There are a lot of these traffic cams, especially within Virginia, and I think throughout the states at least. There are a lot of traffic cams, and if you need to know traffic conditions, if you're sending out field crews or you have somewhere to go, it could be helpful. Within the lower sections of this, there are the weather conditions. So that could be helpful if you want to know that weather condition. Obviously, you can link to other things and have other web pages that are probably more easily accessible than this one, but this is an option. Looks like we're going to have some rain here in the not too distant future. And the pollen count, and it looks like the closest lightning, in case you're interested in that, is some 280 miles away from me at this point. Close your eyes real quick as I scroll up quickly to the other side of this interesting has weather cams. Most of these are not real interesting right off the bat. Some of these are some of the high schools and middle schools in the area. I don't know how this is coming across to be able to see. But there are some down here lower that are of much more interest, at least in to some of the other areas. This one had a beautiful fog base the other morning as we were looking at it. Here's one in the mountains, it looks like, of Washington State. So these can go all over. Here's one in Nevada, it looks like. And then close, if you're out further west in Colorado, in Cripple Creek. And just links that might be helpful. City of Miami catches some of the resorts there in Texas. So maybe not real applicable to what we're actually doing, but there are ways, especially if you had other information or had links to cameras that were at facilities or locations that you needed to keep track of or wanted to be able to see, maybe conditions where you were getting ready to go out, maybe to do a field sample, if there were video cameras in that area that you could look at. In this case, I'm going to go ahead and scroll back up, get that back over to the traffic cams. And again, some of these, if you click on them and did a separate link to an individual traffic cam or something like that, that camera would show you things that were, you know, there and would be a lot clearer. In this case, we're getting a lot of traffic or a lot of bandwidth because of the number of different webcams that are in this particular link. The next example is this number 5 here. And this one I really call my fail. This one I tried to link in here and I left it in just so you could see. This is a fail. This one takes up way too much screen real estate. The link doesn't actually even work, some of the graphs. And so what I did for this one, to make it cleaner and to take up less screen real estate, was put this into a separate open National Weather Service. It's going to this same screen. This one does have some graphs and down below that actually worked within this widget. But as you can see, it is way too much real estate to be taking for a dashboard. And again, it just really clutters it up, doesn't even look good. So what I did to clean that up was created this widget, opens in a new window. Let me pull that over. And this one really then comes in. Oh, excuse me. Got that closed it instead of fixing it. So this one brings up our river gauge here near Radford, Virginia. Brings in the new river and some elevations that we're taking. We happen to have about almost 3 inches of rain over the weekend, and you can see what happened to the new river because of that. And so if you have something that is activated, or in one case, we've had some things that you can go and sample when you have a rain event. This could give you a good indication, or if you were interested in this river information, here it is. You can just link right to that. Again, there are lots of data sources out there. This one was one that I just happened to find, and just conveniently, we had that 3 inches of rain, so it really gave us a good graph to look at. Gives us lots of information. Again, there's lots of information on this. Gives you the location of where that gauge is in respect to Radford, Virginia. And again, as we come down, gives us more information. So again, this one is a rather large set of data, a lot of information, and rather than try to embed it right within a dashboard, I went ahead and zoomed that down, gave us a link to it. Again, if in consideration of a nice clean dashboard, takes up a lot less real estate and could be pointed to something that really applies to whichever type of dashboard you have, whether it's a role-based dashboard or actually for individual people or project-based. If this were pertaining to a particular project, and maybe if it was in relation to the Gold King mine spill, rather than having the New River, we might want to actually have a link to the San Juan River that this was involved with. So things like that can be put together as a project specific type of widget within our HTML widget to get that information that really applies to the project. One last one here that really is, again, just a link to a different set of data. Let me see if that one actually comes up. In this case, it does take a little bit of time to load, and it's coming up and taking the place of this other one. And this one shows the percentage, the population, and this is by percentage and color-coded here. The population, the percentage of population that gets drinking water from seasonal, rain-dependent, or headwater streams. Now, this may not be of interest particularly to where you are going at the moment, but really I just wanted to show that you can link. There are lots of data sources out there. It's just really interesting to have all the amount of data, the availability that's out there. And these HTML widgets are a good way to link to that, a good way to bring that information right back and close to you. One other thing that I wanted to, that really is all of the links at this point that I have in the data, but what I did want to do is come back to the slides real quickly here. And here are a couple other links to some interesting information that I found as I was looking for this. Obviously, the National Weather Service is a good location for lots of information. Within the Interoperable Watersheds Monitoring Project, this is an EPA project, lots of information here. I didn't do a lot of searching there to find that, but there obviously are lots of links that would be able to pull the webcams. There are lots of those all over the country, not necessarily some of those. I looked at some of the ones in Washington, D.C. of the National Mall and things like that. They're out there, available to be pulled in if that's something that works or is needed or works within your workflow. The other things, hey, how are you using it? We would love to hear from you in terms of how you're using the HTML widget and ideas of ways to either improve that or just uses that you have other than what I've demonstrated in this very brief demonstration of the HTML widget. Hopefully this has gotten you thinking about ways that it would be help and work in your workflow. Again, what you can do is send those information either now if you want to chime in and say, hey, here's how we're using it, or if you would like to send it to office hours at earthsoft.com. We would love to hear from you and see how you're using the HTML widget. Again, this is just the first part in a 4-part series of enterprise and how new things within enterprise. Any questions, thoughts, or Liz, if you want to kind of moderate this, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. It looks like we've got a couple of questions. Kevin asks, is there a facility yet to remember the username and password information for access like to cameras?
In the cases that I had, I did not have to use any password information. So I'm not sure of that. We can definitely check on that to see if there is a way to get that stored if you do need a password. And we'll make a note of that and get to you on that. Thank you for that question. Good question.
Absolutely. Kathleen asks, is there a way to add in the source of the data, maybe via a link to show the user the source of that data?
Within the text portion, you could probably put in the information if you wanted to put a text section of your HTML so that you could reference what you're actually clicking on. That was part of the, let me get back to that one, just very similar to this Gold King mine. The pictures are there, but within the text section, you could obviously or easily put in a reference to where your report or the data that you're going to be showing within that. I hope that kind of covers what the question is answering.
Yeah, and another way that this is kind of how you described it. You essentially could put a text below that link and just say, the source sort of annotated in that widget itself, I would believe.
Yeah, and also could put it right in the widget title.
Absolutely. Kathleen notes that they'd love to see username and password encryption somewhere. So that's a great bit of feedback. Thank you for that, Kathleen.
Thank you.
And then she adds, so user doesn't have to struggle with remembering username and password to see something that needs login credentials if they click on a link that needs credentials. Makes perfect sense.
Yep, makes perfect sense.
And Kevin asks, can Word documents be saved as HTML files, saved to EQuIS documents, and then linked to it from the HTML widget?
I would think so, but I don't know that specifically for sure. But I would think that you could link any to anything that is out there, really. I mean, whether it is within this, we're just putting there, and I would think that we could put a link to whether it's a local file or a file out on the web. I would think that we could do that, but I would have to double check on that unless Yannick has an answer for that right off the top.
Yep, Yannick noted that you can link to any file, and as Kathleen notes, it was provided in the government user group yesterday. Essentially, if you have a piece of information for DT file, as long as you have that file ID for any sort of document that's saved in EQuIS, then you can certainly link to it from there. And it will actually honor your user permissions. So if you've got a link to a particular file, but somebody doesn't have access to see it, then they won't be able to see it. Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. Kathleen actually chatted it to us, so we'll go ahead and chat this out to everybody so that you have access to that. So that piece of information that I just sent with the HTML file, with that image link where it says link to file, that's essentially going to be that file ID that would end up in that spot. So thanks for that, Kathleen. Thank you very much.
Yep, thank you.
If you have any questions, future topic suggestions, or would like to sign up for future office hours, please email us at officehours@earthsoft.com. So thank you so much, Bill, for the presentation. We look forward to hearing how you end up using the HTML widget to leverage your enterprise configuration. And thanks so much, everyone, for attending. We hope to see you next week.